Hello, fellow duelists. This is Shadow of the Moon, and today I'm going to be showing you an updated deck profile of my Mist Valley deck for February 2022. Now, I did have this video already planned out and made, and actually was getting ready to post it up, and then the ban list dropped not too long ago, so I had to quickly go back and just change a few things in it because Bird of Sovereignty is banned in this deck. But what makes this deck a lot of fun is that you don't need Bird of Sovereignty to bring out Barrier Statue of the Stormwind. You actually have a way to bring it out in the card form of Divine Wind of Mist Valley, which lets you special summon a level 4 or lower wind monster from your deck. Now, this deck is a lot of fun because, like I said in my other video, I love the lore behind it. I love that it can actually play on its own, and it actually is very, very fun to play because of how fast it can be. With the new support that came out in Brothers of Legend, really gave it a nice boost, being able to, in cards such as Summon Storm, and then also Wing Requital, to be able to get the draw power going on, and also at the same time being able to swarm the field to be able to go into your Mist Valley Thunderlord and a lot of the negates that are in this video. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight on into it. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for the new subscribers, and you guys continuing to watch my videos and stuff. My subscribers now, new ones, you guys rock. Thank you just for always taking the time to watch my content and just watch all my videos and everything. It means so much to me that you guys are always watching and always enjoying the stuff that I upload. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight on into it. Alright, so first thing is first, we're going to be playing Apex Avian, and yes, I do know what you're thinking at first. You're like, how do you get this out because there is no Bird of Sovereignty? This guy is very easy to bring out because, honestly, it is a double sacrifice monster, but because you're special summoning like crazy, this is probably the only tribute monster that you're ever going to need in the deck, because it still has that negate that if they activate a monster on effect, you can bounce back a Mist Valley card to negate it, and if you can get Thunderbird on the field, it also makes it towards the infinite loop. So that's another way to be able to get through it. Plus, I mean, I wanted to keep him in here because he still is very viable, and he still works very well with the deck. Alright, so now we have the Mist Valley Falcon. Mist Valley Falcon is probably one of the best cards in this deck. To attack, you have to send a face-up, or send a card back to the hand, so it does not have to be face-up. But what makes this very good is that if you have Swords or Veiling Light on the field, you can bounce that back to the hand to be able to kind of have like a continuous Swords loop on your opponent if you're attacking with Mist Valley Falcon. Plus, since he's 2000 attack, he's pretty hard to get over because he is kind of a big beat stick. Alright, then we have 3 copies of Mist Condor. Mist Condor is gonna help you special summon itself by bouncing back a monster to your hand and makes it attack 1700, but you're not going to be focusing on that. This is mainly going to help you turbo out monsters using the Divine Wind in Mist Valley by bouncing cards back to special summon him. Then we've got 3 copies of Mist Valley Shaman. Mist Valley Shaman has a same effect almost as Mist Valley Falcon, that if you have a face-up card, though, on the field, you bounce back a face-up card on the field to increase this attack to 1700. And since it's a tuner, this is going to help you go into all your synchro plays that you have in the deck. Alright, and then the star of the show, probably one of the best cards in this deck, Mist Valley Thunderbird. And in this deck, you can run 3 because this is a Mist Valley deck. This is pretty much what it was intended for. So if you don't know what Mist Valley Thunderbird does, every single time that this card gets bounced back to the hand, you special summon it to the field. So it's automatic, it's continuous, and is not once per turn. So every single time this thing gets bounced back to the hand by any effect, you can special summon it back to the field, which makes it very useful and viable in this deck for consistency, to be able to go into your Exceed plays or go into your Link plays or Synchro plays, because you're constantly using this level 3 guy to go into higher level monsters and get that field presence. Alright, and then that's it for the Mist Valley cards. Now we're going to be moving on to the tech cards. So first we've got 3 copies of Red-Haired Hasty Tourist. If your opponent, if you have no basically spaces that are adjacent to this card, meaning that if there's no space over here that's occupied or space right here, you can special summon this card to that space that isn't occupied by either or. And this is going to be a 2000 beat stick. So that's very important in this deck, because this is another way to be able to special summon. Because if you have this, then you've got like Cock-a-doodle-doo, or if you've got Mist Valley Condor and stuff, this is a good way to be able to go into a lot of your plays for your speed, because you're using Divine Wind and Mist Valley and everything. So this will be a special summon. That's why there's 3 in here, because it is very useful. Alright, and then 3 copies of Cock-a-doodle-doo. Cock-a-doodle-doo is essentially a Cyber Dragon for Winged Beast and a Cyber Dragon for this deck. If if there are no monsters on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand as a level 3, and if your opponent controls a monster and you control no cards, you can special summon this card from your hand as a level 4. So it becomes a level 3 or level 4 depending on the situation, which will help you go into your synchro plays. Okay, and then we've got 3 copies of Reborn Tengu. Reborn Tengu is going to be a special summon that every single time that it leaves the field, if you have this face-up card leave the field anyway, is whether using it as a tribute or using it as a material for a synchro, exceed, or an exceed, or a link, it gets special summon another Reborn Tengu from your deck. So that's going to help you get more cards on the field to be able to stay and have that field presence. And there is a lot of monsters in here, so... Alright, and then you've got 2 copies of Phantom Griffin. Phantom Griffin basically is going to be your normal summon unexpected die target. This is what's you're going to use using unexpected die to special summon to the field, which will help you get another monster on the field. And then we have 1 copy of Gen X Alley Birdman. This counts as a wind and a dark monster. You can turn a face-up card you control to the hand to special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Plus, since it's a tuner, this can help you go into your synchro plays. And then lastly, you've got your Barrier Statue of the Storm. And like I said before, even though Bird of Sovereignty is banned, you can still bring this guy out using Divine Wind and Mist Valley, which is very, very important in that deck. And I love that this deck can still find use of Barrier Statue of the Storm one. So Barrier Statue is going to make it to where your opponent cannot play anything or special summon anything except for wind monsters. Alright, so that's it finally for the monsters, guys. I told you there's a lot of wind monsters in this deck, but you need a lot of monsters because this is mainly how you're going to be special summoning and bringing out a lot of your extra deck cards. Alright, so now we're going to be moving on to these spells. Obviously, Divine Wind and Mist Valley. I wish this was at 3. Unfortunately, they only have it at 1. It's probably going to stay there on the ban list like that, or on the limited list. If once per turn, if a wind monster you control is returned to the hand, except during the damage step, you can special summon a level 4 or lower wind monster from your deck. So this is what's going to help you go into your Barrier Statue and go into a lot other level 4 or lower monsters that you have. Then you've got 1 copy of Terraform. This is going to help you search for your Divine Wind and Mist Valley. And then 3 copies of Unexpected Die. This is strictly in here for Phantom Griffin to be able to special summon. If you control no monsters, you can special summon a level 4 or lower normal monster from your deck. Then we've got 3 copies of Swords of Rebellion Light. Yes, I said 3 copies. In my last video, I actually took out, since then, I took out Big Bang Shot. Because honestly, Big Bang Shot is not going to be that useful because if you're playing against somebody and everything, you're focusing too much on trying to equip them with Big Bang Shot to activate Mist Valley Falcon's effect. This is a little bit more valuable and a little bit more consistent because what it does is, obviously, you're going to get to stall your opponent, but if you have Mist Valley Falcon on the field and you keep bouncing it back, it can perpetually be basically a way to where your opponent can never attack you. And then we have 2 copies of Summon Storm. Summon Storm is going to make it to where if you pay 800 life points, you special summon a level 6 or lower one monster from your hand, and then during your main phase, except for the turn that you activated this card, if it's in your graveyard, you can banish it. If you're in your graveyard, 2 special summon a level 4 or lower one monster from your hand, but you can only activate it once per turn. This is going to help you go into your higher level, or go into your plays by being able to special summon from your hand, which is very, very important since you do have a majority monsters in this deck. Alright, and then 2 copies of Wing or Quiddle. The only reason I'm not running 3 in this deck is because this deck only does have 16 Winged Beast monsters. It does have Beast Warriors, it does have other stuff in here. So you want to make sure that you limit only having 2, so that way you can more than likely be able to draw the 2 cards. This is an exceptionally great card, especially for a Winged Beast, because it allows you, by paying 600 life points, to draw 2 cards as long as you control 2 Winged Beast monsters of different names. So, unfortunately, it is once per turn, but you're mainly only going to be using it once per turn, because since you only have 2, I'd rather only use the 2 in the deck, because it's a lot more valuable and just a lot more synergetic than just having 1 Upstart Goblin in here, or having like a pot of pot of desires and all that everything. It's just being able to draw 2 cards. Plus, this is just an amazing card, and it speeds up a lot of Winged Beast decks. And then lastly, for the spells, we have the Monster Reborn. This is just going to help you bring back your monsters from the graveyard to be able to have more monsters on the field. And then lastly, for the traps, we're just going to have your Metaverse. This is going to, when you set it, you activate it. This will let you activate a field spell from your deck. Alright, so that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's move on to the extra deck. So first, the only Mist Valley Synchro that I have in the deck is going to be Mist Valley Thunderlord. This acts like Falcon to where you can do it on either your turn or your opponent's turn. You bounce back a face-up card on the field to be able to increase his attack by 31, increases his attack to 3,100, making it a 3,100 beat stick. I like running 3 in here. You don't have to run 3. You can cut this down to like 1 or something, but I like being able to have the 3 in here because since it is the only Miss Valley synchro on the deck. And then 1 F.A. Dawn Dragster. This is going to negate spells and traps. This is actually very valuable and it's a level 7, so it is easy to go into. And then you've got your Vermilion Dragon mech to be able to pop cards on the field by using tuners, since we do use a lot of tuners in this deck. Then we've got Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. This is going to negate monster effects by once per turn, so this is kind of going to help you be able to set up your field. And then for the level 4s, we've got Ice Beast Seraphine. This is going to shut everything off to increase his attack by 300 for each face-up card on the field. Tornado Dragon to pop spells and traps. Heartland Draco to be able to attack your opponent directly. This essentially is kind of like a Harpy's Pet Phantasmal Dragon. Then Castel, the Sky Blasting Musketeer. This is going to pop cards back into the deck. Lightning Chidori to pop set cards. And then for the link, we've got Borreload Savage Dragon because it is very easy to go into this guy. If you wanted to use Appaloosa, that's another option you can do because Appaloosa, you can go into it. You can easily get those 4 or link climb until you've gotten like a link. 1 link that's a link 2 and then 2 monsters if you want to, but I'm just using Borreload because I actually kind of just prefer it. And then we've got Nightmare Unicorn and Nightmare Phoenix to be able to pop spells and traps and spin stuff. And then lastly, just for flavor, we've got Great Fly. This is going to increase your wind monsters by 500 points, and then when it's sent to the graveyard as a result of battle by a card effect, you can search a monster with 1,500 or less level 4, 1,500 or less wind monster from your deck and add it to your hand. So, alright, so that's going to be it for this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is a lot of fun because of just how good it actually can be and how much potential it has. I love that Miss Valleys actually finally are able to have a little bit of playing style. Obviously, this isn't... if you ever take this to a tournament, obviously you're not going to be winning the tournament. You're not going to be like, you may get close and everything. And this is just more of a fun deck to be able to play around with and everything. But I love this deck to pieces just because of how ridiculous the amount of monsters are in here. But this is very, very important in there to be able to go into a lot of your plays because you're constantly special summoning stuff using the Divine Wind in Miss Valley. I wish they would, put Divine Wind back at 3, but I know why they don't. So, alright, so that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And with that, see you guys next time. Later.